All right, hi everyone. Right, welcome. Let's just wait a few more minutes for the others to join us. Good to see everyone here. We'll be starting promptly at 11. So that gives us about 2 more minutes. All right, so we have 1 more minute to go while we wait for the others to come in. Just a reminder that you can use the chat or the Q&A function to voice out your questions for either myself or the Amazon team or the OFX team. Hello. All right, 1 more minute to go. All right, let's start. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the last part of the ultimate guide to start selling on Amazon.com, where we learn about some essential basics to start selling on Amazon, right? If you have been here for our past 2 sessions, then welcome back and good to see you again. Right, today we have a guest speaker from OFX, JC, who will be sharing more about cross-border payments and OFX's service offerings later. So hope everyone here is excited to be here as I am. All right, so to introduce myself, I'm Jess. I'm an account manager here, but I also handle account registration issues for sellers selling on Amazon.com. Okay, so if you're facing any problems with your account registration and you see an email like this, right, please do schedule a one-to-one call with me so that we can get your issue fixed. All right, so for a quick recap, in our part 1 webinar, we have covered topics like how to access Seller University, how to select products to sell on Amazon.com, the account registration process with emphasis on the SIV process or Seller Identification Verification process, how to create listings, and also an introduction to FBA, which is Fulfillment by Amazon, as well as ABR, which is Amazon Brand Registry, right? So if you need to revise these topics, you can just scan the QR code here or use the link provided to access the recording. Okay, as for part 2, I've covered how to get account management support, why and what is SPR or what we call seller performance review, how to optimize your listings, as well as getting started with ABR and FBA. Okay, so again, if you want to revise these topics, you can scan the QR code for part 2. Okay, so today I'll be covering these few topics. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've covered the account registration process in both my part 1 and part 2 series, so I won't be repeating myself. I focus on the SIV process or seller identification verification process for my part 1 and SPR or seller performance review for part 2. But today I'll be focusing on the IPV video call, in-person verification video call, and also the postcard OTP procedure, which is what we call an address verification procedure. I feel like I cannot stress this enough, and I have brought this up many times, sorry to be repetitive, but please do read through the account registration guide, especially if you're required to submit documents to verify your identity, right, regardless of any stage of a selling journey, right? So do also take note that every step in the registration process is irreversible, so please make sure to check that you have no careless mistakes, like having your first and last name swapped or having your spelling mistakes in your address, right? If not, you will need to restart your registration with a new email address. All right, so why do you need to go through IPV and OTP? Okay, basically IPV is to verify whether your documents are authentic and of course, whether you're a real person. Okay, and the OTP is to verify the address you've used to register your Amazon selling account. Okay, so I will first cover the IPV process. So the IPV process is fairly simple. It's just 3 simple steps. Firstly, you have to schedule a date and time to take the video call with an Amazon associate. And this is done through the account registration page itself. Then 5 minutes before the scheduled time, right, you can please log into the registration page, and the button that says join video call should light up. So click on that. And lastly, you can just take the call, which typically lasts for 20 minutes. Okay, so to prepare for your IPV call, make sure that you have all the documents that you have uploaded during the SIV process with you, right? So for example, if you have submitted your passport and credit card statement, please have them both ready during the call. Okay, in the case that your credit card statement is an e-statement, right? It means that is in a soft copy. You can just show the PDF on an alternative screen like your phone. So for example, if you're taking your call on your laptop, you can just show your phone screen. All right, so some best practices here. Make sure that you join on time, meaning 5 minutes before your call, you should already be on the account registration page and stand by to click the join video call button like what you see here. Okay, you can refresh the page a few times until you see the button light up during these 5 minutes. Then join the call from a quiet place with good Wi-Fi, right? You should also join the call on a device that has a front-facing camera and microphone because you are required to turn on your video and you may be prompted to speak, okay? You can also have a translator with you if that is needed. Right, so after the call, please do wait up for 2 business days before you get your Seller Center access. And if you're required to provide further clarification, the team in charge of the IPV process will email you, right? If you have missed your scheduled call, you will see the page to reschedule your video call again on your registration page. So please reschedule and make sure that you are on time for your new appointment. Okay, next I will cover the postcard verification process. Okay, the address verification process is actually triggered automatically, right, after you have submitted your SIV documents. Okay, you will see a page like this where you're informed of the status of your postcard delivery, right? Once you've received the postcard, just key in the code in the postcard on this registration page here. Right. Please do be careful when you're keying the OTPs, and also don't key in false OTPs because you only have 3 tries to do so. And once you have used up all 3 tries, you'll be considered as failed registration. And if you still want to sell on Amazon, you will need to start all over again with a new email address, right? It's actually a waste because you're already at the last stage of registration, just 1 step away from getting Seller Center access. So please do be careful with this. Okay, so if you're still facing problems with registration or your submissions, you can scan the QR code here to book a one-to-one with me or use the link provided. Or alternatively, if you see an email that looks like this with one-to-one booking form button, you can just click on that and you can schedule a call with me. All right, so let's move on to the Perfect Launch program. So as a new Amazon seller, you should know that the first 90 days are the most important for you, right? Because for these 90 days, you'll be setting up marketing, fulfillment, pricing, and other practices to set yourself up for success, right? So the Perfect Launch program is what Amazon data scientists call the use of these 5 selling programs you see here within those first 90 days, right? I've already covered Amazon Brand Registry, right? A+ content as well as FBA in my previous sessions. So today I will be covering automated pricing as well as advertising. Okay, so Amazon is a huge marketplace, right? And with that comes competition, okay? If your product is already being sold by other sellers on the platform, then you want to make sure that your products remain price competitive, right? So automated pricing does exactly that, right? It helps you to adjust your prices, right, based on the rules that you have set, and then these rules will run automatically, right? It will save you time and effort. So for example, let's say your product is currently being sold at $10 on Amazon, okay? If you have set a rule where you want your price to be always $1 lower than the featured offer price, or what we call buy box price, right? Then your product will be automatically adjusted to $8 in this case because the buy box offer is $9. So $1 lower, $8. Okay, so just now was an example of the competitive featured offer rule, right? Where you set your price to be below, matching or above, right? The featured offer. Okay, but there's actually other automated pricing rules available. And you can just choose one or few of these rows for your select SKUs or SKUs, depending on your business needs. Okay, so let's say if you have to hit a certain sales volume target, and you understand that your products are price sensitive, meaning that with a bit of price change in your product, your sales volume will increase or decrease, right? If that's the case, you can decrease the price of your products, right, in order to entice more buyers to buy, so that you can hit your sales volume target using the sales unit rule. Okay, so to start automated pricing, you can go to your pricing tab in Seller Central and click into automate pricing. Okay, then you will see a page like this, right? If you wish to use the predefined rows, as I've covered the 4 that you see earlier, you can click into edit SKUs, right, to choose which SKUs you want to set up automated pricing for, right? Alternatively, if you want to create your own pricing rule for your own business needs, you can do so by clicking on this create a customized pricing rule. Okay, so if you wish to use automated pricing for your products, you must have a professional selling account. Of course, you also need to have active SKUs in your catalog. And also, you should understand your business needs and your profit margins, because then you'll be able to choose the appropriate rule for each SKU. And also, you'll be able to set the minimum and maximum prices for them. Right, next, I would like to cover Amazon advertising solutions. So why do you need advertising, right? If you're selling on a big e-commerce platform like Amazon, where there are literally millions of products for your buyers, right? As a seller, that means that you will need to compete for your buyers' attention, right? You want to boost your visibility for your brand and your products, and for them to learn what you have to offer as a seller, right? In fact, 3 out of 4 Amazon customers use Amazons to discover new products or brands. So by using ads or advertisements, right, you can put your products ahead of others and get discovered by your potential buyers faster. We also know that many of Amazon's shoppers come onto the website ready to buy, right? So with advertising, you'll be able to reach out to these customers who are looking for products like yours. And lastly, you only pay for the clicks you receive, right? Which is what we call a pay per click advertising model. So from this, you can just use campaign reports to track your ad spend and performance, so you can learn what's working and also fine tune your campaigns from there. Okay, Amazon has actually a lot of advertising solutions, but today I would like to cover the 4 more common ones. First, we have sponsored products, which are basically ads for individual product listings. Okay, you may see them on search result pages and also on product detail pages on the Amazon.com platform. Okay, they are the most commonly used ad type on Amazon, with 66% of third-party sellers like yourself using this as an advertising avenue. So if you see this, you'll be placed around this area here. Okay, next, we have sponsored brands, where you can feature your brand logo, some product selections, and also a custom headline in your ads, right? So sponsored brands show up in the search result page, typically at prominent areas, such as the top of the page, as you see here. Next, if you wish to reach out to audiences outside the Amazon.com platform, you can use the sponsored display ads to reach out to your potential customers on other Amazon-owned platforms like Twitch, which is a streaming site if you haven't heard of it before, and also other third-party apps and websites, right? Essentially, these ads appear on and off Amazon, and it is to give you the best coverage, right? Lastly, we have stores, right, which is kind of like building your own website on the Amazon.com platform, right? It is a page or a few pages for buyers to learn about your brand and also shop all your different products in one place. Okay, if you wish to use the Amazon advertising solutions, you will first need to have a professional seller account, right? Unlike the other 3 ad types, you don't need to be registered as a brand on Amazon to use sponsored products. However, for you to advertise your products using sponsored products, your products must be eligible for the featured offer placement, or what we call the buy box, right? Lastly, in order for you to use any of these advertising tools, your products cannot be adult products, used or refurbished products, and also products in closed categories. So today, I will cover the most commonly used ad solution among sellers, which is sponsored products. Okay, so earlier I've already covered the placement of the sponsored products. They appear on the search result page like this, or on the or in the product detail page, right? Essentially, if you see a tiny sponsored word below the product, right, this is actually a sponsored products advertisement. Okay, so why should you use sponsored products ads, right? It actually helps you to increase the number of eyeballs to your products. And with this increase in traffic, it is easier for you to have more sales. Okay, and in fact, if you stack sponsored product ads with other perfect launch elements like creating an amazing product detail page, you'll be able to get more traffic and conversions. Okay, so I've already covered how to make great feature bullet points as well as A+ content and what it is in my previous part 2 webinar. So if you want to revisit it, you can just refer to the webinar recordings. Okay, so to get started with sponsored ads, you can either use the link on the screen or scan the QR code. Okay, so you see a page like this. From here, you can just select the country that you want to advertise in, and for us, that is the United States. Next, you'll be prompted to select an option to register for an advertising account. But here, please select I have a Seller Central account, right? Because all of us here will be registering for one. You'll be prompted to sign in. And if you're not yet, right, then once you're in, you'll see a page like this. Okay, so lastly, you can start by creating your campaign. Okay. Right, so for my last part for today, okay, which is part 2 of getting started with FBA. I've already covered this before again in part 2. And to get started at FBA, there are 6 steps. Okay, we have covered account registration and creating listings in part 1, product prep in part 2. So today I will cover how to create a shipping plan as well as creating a shipment to Amazon's fulfillment centers. So let me start with creating a shipping plan. Okay, so when you're ready to send inventory to Amazon, you begin by creating a shipping plan, which is essentially to assign inventory to FBA's fulfillment centers. Okay, to start, you go to the inventory tab on Seller Central, then click into manage inventory. After that, you just have to select the products that you want to send to the fulfillment centers, then click on send, then click on this action on how many selected. Okay, then after that, you can just click on send or replenish inventory. Then you're good to go. All right. So after you've chosen the inventory that you want to send to the fulfillment centers, you have to you will see a page like this, right? So in this case, you are at the old inventory workflow, right? You can click send to Amazon here on the top to access the new and improved streamlined shipment creation workflow. Okay, and from here, you can just follow the prompts given at every step, like for example, confirm shipping or printing the box labels to paste on your shipment. Then you're done. All right, so after you have chosen inventory that you want to send to the fulfillment centers, you have to create a shipment by packing the final deliverable to be sent to the fulfillment centers. Okay, there are 2 types of shipments that you can send to the Amazon warehouse or what we call fulfillment centers. The first one is what we call a small parcel delivery or SPD, right? The first, this first one here, they are actually generally smaller shipments, right? And they are done by courier services such as DHL, UPS, Aramex, or your local postal services, right? These items are packed in shipping boxes and they're also individually labeled for delivery, like what you see here. So for example, let's say you're sending out 4 small parcels. So all 4 of them have to be labeled, right? The second one here is what we call a less than truckload or full truckload shipment. Okay, and this type of shipment, they are basically cases or boxes that are secured on pallets, which is this wooden thing that you see here. Right, so I won't be covering all the requirements for small parcel delivery and LTL or FTL shipments, but you can scan this QR code to download the FBA guide to know more about these requirements, as there is a lot to cover and there may be different requirements for different products. And understand here that not everyone sells the same type of products, and there may be special tailored requirements for you, right? So you please do scan this QR code and refer to this. If you want to learn more about FBA, right, you can actually scan this QR code at the bottom right to check out the recordings for webinars related to FBAs. All right, so I have come to the end of my presentation. I'll pass my time on to JC from OFX to share his part of the presentation. All right, JC, please.
All right, thank you very much, Jess. If you'll just allow me to share my screen, I will
go ahead, please.
Go straight to that. Okay, sorry, I just need to make sure I choose the right screen. All right, a few more seconds and then we'll get into it.
No worries.
Okay. All right, I hope everyone can see my screen now. I'm just loading up. Okay, can everyone see a big orange screen with cross-border payments on it?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so first things first, Jess, thank you very much for setting this up so nicely and having us, OFX, at your webinar. And
Happy to have you
basically,
here.
yes, happy to be here.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, my name is Jay. I will be talking about how OFX can help your Amazon business when selling on the US marketplace. Okay, and before we do that, I will go into just a bit of discussing about the agenda, an introduction about myself and OFX, just so that there might be a few people who don't know who we are. Okay. Okay, so the agenda for today, I'll cover the first 4 points. And those first 4 points are: 1, the global payment flows for e-commerce. Number 2, very important, getting paid and managing the fees for your sales on Amazon.com. 3, maximizing your profits with a multi-currency account. This is also where OFX can help you. Number 4, FX markets overview. So just 1 or 2 slides about the swings in 2022 versus 2021 and considerations for the upcoming year. And then we'll finish off at point 5 with a quick Q&A session. Okay. Now, next part, I'm just going to talk a bit about myself. So my name is JC. I am the Alliance Manager at OFX Singapore. I was born in the UK and I've lived in 5 countries before the age of 20. So that's just one of those little known facts about me. And in terms of education, I was educated at the University of New South Wales, UNSW for short, in Sydney, Australia. And my experience in the industry, besides OFX, has given me interactions with online sellers, corporate and consumer clients. Okay, so online sellers, obviously, that applies to most of us here today. And in terms of the cross-border payments and e-commerce experience, I've got 8 years of that. So I handle on average about 25 million a year, that's in Sing dollars, in annual transactions. Okay, and before we move on, just some general housekeeping I would like to address. Firstly, please submit your Q&A questions at the end. However, as Sean rightly pointed out, if you cannot stay for the rest of this session, please do drop us a chat message or a question. There's also a Q&A session in there, so please, and then if you do want to include your contact details, do address it to the hosts and panelists only. And if you want to get in touch, you can actually scan the QR code below, and that brings you to an online inquiry form where you can leave your details, and one of the OF experts, so that's my colleagues, will be able to get in touch with you. And then last but not least, there's also a chat function where you can talk to my colleague, Sophie Aitken. So if you just search OFX, you'll be able to see her name at the bottom, in one of the search results, okay? Okay, so first things first, who are OFX? OFX, we are a fully MAS regulated money transfer specialist. Now the MAS is short for Monetary Authority of Singapore. And this is one of our 50 regulators globally. So if you have a look at the world map right in front of you, we are in 8 countries around the world. Now going from the left, we are in San Francisco in the US, Toronto in Canada, Dublin in Ireland, London in the UK. Our Asia HQ sits in Hong Kong. There's Singapore, I've mentioned. Global HQ sits in Australia, and there's a small office in Auckland, New Zealand. On top of that, we have served in our history, and our history goes back to 1998 when we were founded, 1 million clients and transacted more than 140 billion, that's with a B, Singapore dollars, okay? Now I'm going to talk about firstly, the global payment flows for e-commerce, okay? How does that look like? Now, here is a typical flowchart of how the e-commerce ecosystem works. We're going to start with the customer layer on top, and then I'll just move my way down the chart, okay? So say you are an Amazon seller wanting to list products and create shops on various sales channels online, okay? This will bring you to let's just say you're selling on Amazon US, and you're selling on one of these platforms. So if it's not Amazon, it's eBay, it's Shopify, okay? And you list it for $100 US, which is equivalent to about, let's just say, 132 Sing dollars. Okay. And step 3, along the way, a consumer will buy your product on that US marketplace, and they will instruct their issuing bank, in this case, it's Wells Fargo, just as an example, to pay $100 US. The next step, a payment gateway will be involved, and that payment gateway will accept payment, but have their own fee involved, which is at the next step, and that is known as interchange. So of that 100 USD that a consumer has paid, that payment gateway will then deduct, let's just say 3% here, okay? So there's $97 left from that transaction. And once that conversion takes place, 97 USD will be converted, and there is also an additional 3% FX conversion fee. So this is just assuming that there is no OFX involved along the way to help you to streamline your payments. And then as we go down to the banking layer, this is where the merchant revenue, so after the merchant bank, your current bank, nets off fees, chargebacks, and so on, you're left with 124 Sing dollars after conversion and after that 3% FX fee, okay? And before I continue, just please keep those questions coming in. And if you have any sort of issues, you can leave your contact details for any of our OFX experts to contact you. Okay, we've also got a situation where buy now, pay later, BNPL for short, consumers also have a need to make purchases. Now, the first step is a customer will buy from the merchant. Again, you're using that US $100 example. So step two, they will opt to choose a buy now, pay later option, which is one of these providers. And I'm sure they look very familiar to a lot of us, especially those in Singapore. And then the buy now, pay later company pays the merchant minus that 3% fee. So again, you're left with 97 US dollars. And then at step four, this is where the customer settles to the buy now, pay later company in 4 equal installments over 4 months, and each installment is 25 US dollars. Now, just a quick question. Again, this is you can put this in the chat just very quickly. What is the biggest pain point when receiving payments from marketplaces? Would you be able to share that with us? I'll just give about maybe 10 seconds for everyone to just put in their pain points, please. Yeah, okay. All right. So I'm going to address that, okay? So here's where I talk about getting paid and managing the fees for your Amazon sales. Okay, so selling on an Amazon marketplace will have these sorts of aspects and elements involved. So you have receivables, and not just from the marketplace itself, but also from payment gateways, because then you need to withdraw from those platforms, okay? And you can see the various marketplaces, not just your Amazons, but also your payment gateways in Afterpay, PayPal, Stripe, and so on. Now, the second part is where you are connected. Your currency accounts need to connect to those local payment systems. So this could be the ACH or the Automatic Clearinghouse, SEPA, which is the payment of the European payment system, and there's also FPS. And here is also where the local currency accounts can also connect to Xero accounting software. I will talk about this more later on. And then there's a third part, which is the payables. So you can need to withdraw to your business bank account, okay? You also need to pay your suppliers, of course. And there's also the potential of paying sales taxes, okay? Just moving quickly on. And in a real life use case or an example, yes, using the Amazon US example, with a multi-currency account, here's what you can do, okay? You can open a local USD account and start selling in the US immediately, okay? You can connect to those payment gateways that I mentioned earlier, such as your Stripe and PayPal's, and also the buy now, pay later platforms. Now, to maximize profits, how do we do that with a multi-currency account? I also see, okay, hand raise, yeah, okay. Okay, so OFX has a solution to help all Amazon sellers with their withdrawals and receivables when it comes to withdrawing their revenues from an Amazon seller account. Now, firstly, we can issue these currency accounts. So if you look at the world map, we can do it in the major currencies. So that's US dollars, Canadian dollars, pounds, euros, Hong Kong dollars, Sing dollars, and Australian. And you'll note that there's a JPY, Japanese yen option coming up. I just can't say when. Okay, and the unique thing about these accounts that we can issue, they are in country. So you are having clients who can pay you in the local currencies, and you're receiving just like a local. Okay, so putting this all into visuals, again, you can get paid on the left. You can withdraw from the payment gateways. You can also withdraw from the marketplaces that you sell on. And by withdrawing, you can withdraw to the GCA, which I mentioned earlier. So those funds can then be connected to the zero accounting software, which I mentioned earlier. And we do it without fees and also at great rates, okay? And again, you can make those payments either to your bank account, to your suppliers or various invoices that you have to pay, and your sales or VAT. Okay, here's what it looks like visually. So the OFX GCA, the global currency account, say you've got all the currencies, and then you can just have a look at it like this. It is like a multi-currency account, honestly, just without the fees. Okay, you have full visibility, and statements are downloadable, if you can see on the top right corner of that screenshot. You have the option to auto-convert your funds, and you can pay into your preferred bank account to save time and effort. And there's definitely savings because of the lack of fees. Yeah, there's no automatic, there is no conversion at a time that you have to do it if it's not stipulated. So you do it as and when you wish to. And then the accounting with zero accounting software actually allows you to share the OFX GCA details at the bottom of your invoice. So it will just appear like a bank account where your clients and customers can pay into. Okay, so over the last 12 months, this is what we have noticed in the US dollar, Sing dollar currency pair, okay? So first question, how much do you think the Sing dollar has moved against the US dollar in terms of value over the last 12 months? You can put them in percentages, or you can even put, in terms of cents, how much you think is it. Again, I'll just allow 10 seconds for that. Any guesses? Okay, all right, we'll move swiftly on. Here's the answer. So the chart here shows the USD Sing dollar pair from the last 12 months. And the chart is from March 2021 until March 2022 this year, okay? So you'll notice that there are two highs, there's a high and low, and with the low being at 1.3232 in June last year, which coincided at a time where the Sing dollar was obviously stronger, but also when the Singapore government injected a 50 million subsidy from the reserves at a time when unemployment rates were also down. Contrastingly, there was a high of 1.3746 when the strong USD coincided with the re-election of the US Fed Reserve Chairman, and also the news of tapering boosted the US dollar confidence. And to put a number on this, the change has been about 1.8% between the high and low, so just under 2%, okay? Now, there are four considerations moving forward with regards to currencies, okay? Now, the first one is to understand the currency risks that you face, what currencies are involved, okay? Now, secondly, you need to have an accurate view of your current and future currency requirements. And that view, obviously, where are you selling? That's the first question. What currencies do you need? And hopefully this is where OFX can help you and your business. Thirdly, you need to identify the natural opportunities to eliminate those risks. And here's where I share with you that actually to identify them, actually one way is actually to have one of these OFX GCAs. By having that in-country account, you're not subject to those volatility in relation to currency movements, okay? So you're naturally hedged, so to speak. And lastly, you need to choose the right FX tools, which I'll talk about very briefly. Okay, just bear with me for one moment, please. All right, so here are some of the tools that we have. On the left, we've got the GCA, which I've talked about at length. We also have the limit order, which is the, basically it's a target order solution that we have where you, the client, tell us, oh, I would like the rate to hit, again, using the same currency pair, US dollar to Sing, 1.36 or 1.37. You can enter that into the system, and then once that rate triggers, one of our OF experts will call you to complete that transfer. Okay, this is not for those that are short on time and have to deal in the short urgently. This is one of those for those that want to plan more. Okay, and then of course we've got forward contracts, which is basically a solution that allows you to lock in the rate for up to a maximum of 12 months. And this is also subject to a small payment, an advance payment, which is, I believe, currently 5%. Okay. And then there's also some currency management tools which we have available. And we've got the feature called Rate Alerts, which is actually kind of the baby steps version of the limit order, where you do enter a desired rate. And when it hits, you need to log into the system and you need to book the deal yourself. There is no dealer interaction there. Okay. We also have the OFX app where you can still set notifications for the target rate and stay on top of those real-time currency rates. And we also offer daily and weekly commentaries as well. Okay. As OFX monitors global events and foreign exchange markets, you don't have to do it. Okay. So you can sign up for this to get the latest market insights from our OF experts. All right. Here's where there's something for you. Okay. Now, there is a limited time offer to new customers that we have, and those that register for an OFX business account will get verified. They will receive a 25 Sing dollar voucher. Okay. On top of that, if you transfer between $5,000 Sing and $9,999 Sing dollars, you will get an extra $25 as well, also in voucher form. And if you need to transfer more than 10K, you get an additional $50 voucher. So you're looking at potentially $100 worth of vouchers for you. Okay. We also have a link where you can find out more here. You can register and redeem by clicking on this. Hopefully this will be shared in the chat box. And please feel free to register your interest. Okay. Okay. Here's where I just talked to you about connecting with us. And again, here's the registration link where you can also scan the QR code and you can get in touch with me directly, or you can get in touch with one of my colleagues who are on this call. That first phone number is a landline number. The second one is a WhatsApp number. So please feel free to scan that QR code under my contact details, or you can add my number now, which is +65 for Singapore, 8149 6118. And of course, I cannot fail to mention those social media platforms where we can connect with you: Facebook, Instagram, Line, LinkedIn, Twitter, WhatsApp, and of course, YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel for you where you can find out more by having a look at those videos on the GCA. Okay. And this also brings me nicely to the question and answer session. Do we have any questions from the audience today?
Thank you, JC. I think we have some questions for you, in fact. I think the first one here is by Zilarafin. He's asking, can I make a payment to my supplier in USA from Malaysia bank account using OFX account?
Sorry, Jess, you sound a bit...
Sorry, my bad. I think I forgot to pull down.
Yeah,
okay, right.
So that question for everyone, please.
Yeah, all right. So Zilarafin's asking, can I make a payment to my supplier in USA from Malaysia bank account using OFX's account?
I see. Okay, currently, we're unable to support payments from your Malaysian bank account unless it's in a currency that's not ringgit. And the reason being, OFX is not licensed to operate in Malaysia, and nor do we have a Malaysian ringgit account. However, if you do have an entity registered in Singapore or Hong Kong or any of the countries where OFX is licensed to operate, if you recall back to that world map, we can definitely assist with onboarding you and receiving payments from you, hopefully in other currencies to support your US dollar supplier payment.
Right. I think there's another question from Ryan. So he's asking, slide 13, you mentioned great rates, and he's asking, what are those?
Oh, okay. So the great rates. So basically, here's where I share a bit more about myself. The great rates are preferential rates that we have granted to the Amazon sellers. I will share that I was actually an ex-client of OFX myself 4 years ago. I've worked for OFX for 3 years, and I got what I would call the public rates. And I can assure you that I didn't get the rates are as good as coming through a channel such as an Amazon. So that one, you'll have to sign up to find out, Ryan. But thank you very much for the question.
Okay, right. Thank you for the answer. I think we have another question from Norman. So he's asking, do we benefit from some sort of interest gain from monies deposited or left in these accounts, or possibly reduce exchange rates?
Norman, thank you for the question. The short answer is no, unfortunately. They are non-interest accruing accounts. So basically, you can leave the money there, but you also do need to eventually pay your suppliers or pay someone that needs to receive in those local currencies. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, I think we have more. That's great. I see one from Somia. So she's asking, do you have any minimum fixed charges? And how does your rates work for smaller transfers, like say less than 500?
Okay. Short answer there, Somia
Yeah,
is
Somia.
that, yep, $0 fees. Okay, so whether it's 500 or 5,000, there's a $0 fee offer that we have for you as an Amazon seller. And hopefully that will entice you to learn a bit more and register your interest with us.
Okay. Currently we have no other questions from the floor, plus, but please keep them coming. I actually have one question from my end. Is it compulsory to deposit an amount in the OFX account first?
Okay. Assuming this is the GCA that you're talking about, the answer is no. You don't need to have any sort of minimum balance. And I know some banks, they have that, and OFX does not have a minimum balance requirement, and nor do we have a monthly fee. There's no maintenance fee. It's free to set up as well, subject to account approval, of course.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Okay. I think Kim Fei is asking a question. So OFX is an online money currency exchange financial institution, and it's not any forex trading platform, right? As usually FX are used for most illegal forex trading platform.
To answer your question, Kim Fei, thank you for the question. Correct. OFX purely does bank account to bank account money transfers. We are not a forex trading platform. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Okay, and Naz is asking, can we open off account online? I think maybe he's asking, can they open the account online?
Absolutely. You can definitely open an account online. There is a registration link, which we can share with you. So Naz, if you,
I can share.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So Jess will kindly share that.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt the Q&A session, but maybe here I can just share a bit of the what's on the screen here. So the first one is how you see the OFX registration code, and here you can redeem some bonuses that JC has already mentioned. And here you can contact JC directly through his WhatsApp. And here, please do fill up the survey link here if you have time. I'm going to just flash this on the screen for some time until we end the webinar, so that everyone has time to put in their feedback. The reason for this feedback is so that we can tailor our content better for you, right? So let's say if we have JC to come back here, right? Hopefully that's the case, right? He will be able to tailor his content better for us, right? And also for myself, right? Good to know if whatever I've shared is good for you, and if that's the case, then we can have more webinars like this in the future. Yeah. Okay. So let me just continue to look at the Q&A. Let's see. Okay, currently we don't have any more. Okay, maybe you can just wait a while
sure.
before any of the other audience.
Sure. Or I can share a question that I commonly get asked, and that is, does the recipient of transfers from me need to have an OFX account? And the short answer is no. Okay, so because we do bank account to bank account transfers, all the recipient needs to have is a bank account. That's it.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Does that mean that the other seller will know that it's from an OFX transfer, or is it just direct and there's no indication of OFX?
It depends on, from a GCA, it should be just showing from your business.
I see.
Yeah.
I think there are some of the other common questions that I have, right,
Mm,
based on our experience with cross-border payments. Like for example,
mhm.
is it a virtual account that can be used in multiple currencies at one time? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. So
Okay.
it is a virtual account. That's the short answer, and it can be used not just to pay suppliers in the same currencies, but also if you need to convert to other currencies, then you can definitely use it for that as well. So say you receive everything in US dollars, but you need to pay someone in euros, you can use those US dollars in your GCA to convert to euros, or you might even need to pay someone in, say, China. And
Mhm,
yeah, that's the usual use case, right? Where you're paying
mhm.
Chinese suppliers either in renminbi or USD. That's no problem. We can support both.
Okay, I think Nas has another question for us. So he's asking if I have transaction that I suppose it's like paused due to
Mm,
Malaysian rules.
right.
Can it be diverted to OFX if I can open an account with OFX?
Okay. This one, Naz, assuming you are in Malaysia, which you are, I would say that you will need an entity or a business that is in one of the, OFX's jurisdictions first, because yeah, because OFX doesn't have the Bank Negara licensing to operate in Malaysia, we cannot be seen to solicit or onboard any clients at the current moment. So yeah, if you have a Singapore business or US business, and I know that some some sellers, they set up a US entity, and then you can use that US entity. I think Delaware is the common state that I see to be onboarded with the OFX.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's another question from Norman. So he's
Mm.
asking on the basis that non-OFX receivers can receive monies. Can I make a one-time transfer without opening an OFX account?
I would say no, because you do need that OFX account to be able to effect these transfers.
All right.
Okay,
There's another question here.
sure.
Why can't we just deposit our proceeds from Amazon to um, and why can't we just deposit our proceeds from Amazon to an international bank account?
Oh, okay. If you deposit to an international bank account, and the example I will use is DBS in Singapore issuing a US dollar account. Okay,
Mhm.
so to use that example, when you withdraw from Amazon to a Singapore-based US dollar account, that is considered an international wire. So there are fees, and there are other, and possibly um, very poor FX rates involved. So those are two things which won't only affect you, but also Amazon as a business as well. Okay, so cost-wise, it's not so cost efficient. Okay, and basically, if you if you have that kind of setup, you're not receiving like a local, so to speak. Okay. And if you have that US dollar account in US, then it's treated as a domestic transfer. Whereas having that US dollar in Singapore, US dollar account in Singapore, that's cross border. And when there's cross border, there are more fees involved. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. I think there's another question from Ryan. So he's
Mm,
asking, today you mostly talked about the benefits of sellers from Singapore selling to the
mm,
USA, right?
mm,
So
mm, mm.
Ryan's saying that they are actually a USA seller and they are looking to sell to Singapore, so it's the reverse. So is everything you say pretty much reversible? So is it the other way around applies?
Yes, absolutely. So we're regulated in the USA. We've got 50 regulators there. That's where the most of the regulators sit. So if you
Great.
want to sell to Singapore, that's no problem. We can issue you that Singapore dollar account, which is in Singapore. So you receive and withdraw as if you were in Singapore as well, Ryan. So yes, totally reversible, and hopefully it helps you with your to re to reduce your foreign exchange exposure.
That's amazing. All right, I think Nas is another question. So he's asking, will you be affiliating with Hong Leong Bank?
Oh, right. I'm not in the position to say, to be honest. Those kind of conversations don't happen at my level. I can ask, but I suspect the answer is no, because we need to get the licensing from Bank Negara first.
Okay, let me just see what other questions that we have.
Mhm.
Um, I believe there's another question from Rachel. So she's asking, can I open an account now first, then use it subsequently? I believe the reason why they ask that question maybe because they're associating it with an Amazon account. So when you sign up for an Amazon account, there is a period of time, if you don't use it, you may be deactivated. And subsequently, when you want to use it, then you may have to reactivate it again, and you have to go through SIV, right? We have to submit some documents to verify again, right? It's for the seller's protection. So is there such a thing in place for OFX's account?
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll answer this in terms of the onboarding process, because with OFX, when you do get onboarded as an Amazon seller, you are required to share your Amazon shop storefront. So that's the URL that you have. Okay. So without that, you actually cannot get an OFX account. And not even the GCA, just an OFX account. So please ensure that all that is set up before you apply for the solutions that OFX can offer you. Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Currently there isn't any, but I guess it's good to just clarify this in regards to the Amazon account, right? So let's say in the eyes of Amazon seller, if they want to transfer their money to, let's say, to China supplier, can they top up the account as per normal, like just to transfer to the account, then send it to the supplier, or do the funds need to come in from the Amazon sales first, then they can transfer out?
Oh, okay. If you're going to use the GCA, yes, you need to have a positive balance of funds to be able to send to China. Yeah.
Okay.
So I assume that this is probably one of the pain points that Amazon sellers will face. So yes, you must have money in the GCA. So yes, you can top up. That's not a problem.
Okay, so top up, then transfer, that's okay. Then you don't have to wait for sales and have balance elsewhere first before you transfer out, right?
Correct. However, the spot transfer option that I spoke about during my slides, that one is where you don't have the GCA solution and you book in a deal where you tell us, OFX, okay, I need to send 5,000 USD to a Chinese supplier. We can only pay out the Chinese supplier in US dollars once we receive your local currency. So using the Singapore context, we must receive your Sing dollars first before we pay out to the Chinese supplier in US dollars.
Okay, right, that's great. I think that answers some of the questions that I have in my mind too. I think Andre has a question here.
So, yeah.
I think this is quite strange. Like, I think she's asking about the functionalities of OFX. I'm not sure if that's the question. How do OFX make money from all of these, or us?
Oh, fair question. OFX, on all our FX transfers, especially from a Singapore perspective, because there are no fees, the only way OFX can make money is on the spread or the margin. So there's a tiny margin that's added to the existing exchange rate, and that's the only way OFX make money. Hope that answers your question, Andre. Thank you for the question, by the way.
Okay, let me see if there's others. Okay, so I think this question by Kim Fei is asking about different payment options. So they're saying that, so basically, other payment options like Worldfirst or others, and OFX, they are working both, they are same, both functional. So they just need to choose either one for the payment account for all marketplaces, right?
Exactly. You need to connect your OFX GCA into the Amazon Seller Central part, and just make sure that you enter the relevant currency account for the relevant marketplace. So if you're selling in US, the US bank account details. Singapore, for in Ryan's case, the Singapore dollar details.
Okay. No worries. And Andre Norman. No worries about it. Like, everyone can be curious about what we do, right? So that's a good question. Actually, it's a good question. I should have said that's a good question. Really. Yeah. Let me just see if there's any others here. Okay, there's currently no other questions we have. Right, please do spend the time, or if you're still here, please do help us to complete the webinar survey, right? And also, if you need to contact JC, you can just scan this QR code and also scan this registration code if you want to redeem the offer, right? For the vouchers that's, the offer that's worth $100.
Yeah, I'll also share my contact details in the chat, so please feel free to reach out if you can't scan it, the QR code easily, and you can talk to myself or any of my friendly OF expert colleagues.
Okay, we have about 8 minutes left. If we have any requests from the audience about what other parts that you want to hear in particular, that'll be great, since we have a bit more time before we end sharp at 12.
Just looking through a few other
Okay.
cues. No? Any
I think Kim Fei has another question, but I guess this is
more
directed to
addressed to
me.
you?
Yeah. Okay. So you're asking about the fulfillment part, right? Which is a fulfillment by Amazon. Okay. So if for this part one and part two, right, you'll be receiving a follow-up email, right, that contains the recordings for both part one and part two. So don't worry about missing it. I understand that it's a weekday morning, and perhaps not everyone will be here to attend it. In that case, let me just share a bit more about FBA since we're here. So regarding fulfillment, there are two types, right? The first one is what we call FBA, or fulfillment by Amazon. The second one is what we call fulfillment by merchant, which is by yourself, right? Meaning you can directly send parcels from here directly to the customers in USA or whatever marketplace that you're selling in, right? So that's what we call fulfillment by merchant. Okay, and if you want to know more about technicalities, like for example, creating a listing and subsequently how do you prep your products, then yeah, that's for part two. Yeah, and we have the guide, right? We'll be sending that in the follow-up email as well, so don't worry about it. Yeah, everything is covered. Okay. I see Edmund is asking the same question. No worries, right? We'll be sending the follow-up email, right? No worries about it. Okay, so Nas is asking another question. If my buyer from USA is using Grand Bank, can I use OFX as my receiver account?
Again, Naz, it comes back to which entity you use. So I would say, yes, you can, but you just need to ensure that you use an entity that falls under a jurisdiction that OFX is licensed to operate. So that will be Singapore, Malaysia, sorry, not Malaysia, Singapore, US, Hong Kong, anywhere in the EU, UK, any of those jurisdictions. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Let me just scroll through very quickly. Yeah, I don't think we have any more questions. Do we have any more? Yeah, okay, so no problem, Naz. Hope we answered your questions. Right, if there's no more questions, then we may be ending a little bit early, right? Yeah, 11:55 is if there's nothing more for us to cover. I think Kim Fei is asking a question, but it's not directly related to Amazon. Maybe you can see if that's okay. So it's saying that the payment gateway will be like PayPal or Swipe, but you use OFX to pay out. I'm not very sure what it means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think what Kim Fei means here is,
Yeah.
can OFX and the solution, again, I'll use the GCA example, can it be used to withdraw from these payment gateways? Because the payment gateways will collect the sales revenue first, and then eventually you, the merchant, will want to withdraw. So yes, it's possible, provided that the payment gateway is one of our approved payment gateways, and that we can help, and then we can help you to withdraw the sales proceeds from your relevant marketplaces.
Oh, and just a curious question. So so OFX in this case, I see like you have covered it more like a business purpose, but can it be used on a consumer level? So for example, I see that there's a like an America website. So, yeah, okay, that's great. That's great.
Yep.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
And on that, Jess, thanks for asking that question.
Yeah.
Yes, we can support both consumer and business requirements. However, please keep the two separate. We have had clients sign up for a personal account to try and do a business transfer, and that will only add time to the delivery time. So I would strongly recommend, if you're going to do personal transfers, please keep it purely personal, and obviously keep your business to one part as well. So Amazon, yeah, you can do all that.
So in terms of the deposit and the balance in these two accounts, they're separate, right? Separate.
Absolutely. They're two separate offerings. So yeah, we can definitely share more offline.
Okay, great. I think Kim Fei is asking another question here. OFX's business model is like a banking for currency. Is that a question or is that a statement?
Yeah, well, maybe I can address that. I will assume it's a question.
Okay.
OFX doesn't, we don't have any sort of retail offerings like a bank.
Yeah.
So the only overlap and similarity we have with the bank is the remittance part, because that's how we started off life as a business. We do bank account to bank account transfers, and yeah, over time that's evolved to offering virtual accounts like these to support
Mhm.
Amazon sellers and businesses like the participants here. But we've never positioned ourselves as a bank per se. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are 3 minutes to 12. If there are no more questions, then we will be ending a little bit early. Right, so if you see the link here, right, being sent by the OFX team, right, if you wish to start opening an account with OFX, please do click into the link and you can redeem the offer. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so we shall be ending our session today. Yeah, and that's JC's contact, right? So if you wish to reach out to him, if you have any more questions, you can just either email him or reach out to him via WhatsApp, via the number that he has provided. Right. Thank you so much, JC.
Thank you very much for having me, by the way. It's a real pleasure speaking to not just you, Jess, but also everyone in the Amazon seller community today. Thank you for taking the time to everyone as well. Okay.
Really happy to have you here, and also happy to have everyone that's here to join us. Okay, so thank you. I see that we'll be ending now. Okay, so good to have everyone here, and goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye.